Good evening. This is Miller Hudson. I was elected to the Colorado legislature in 1978 and 1980 for 2 terms, representing Northwest Denver near Regis College. I was a manager with Mountain Bell, so I knew a lot about utilities, but not much about transit. Before I was sworn in 1978, the RTD announced that they were going to convert the bus system to a grid system and do away with the old bus lines that followed historical light, well, not light rail, but trolley routes. I went to the community church in Berkeley and couldn't park within 3 blocks of the church, and over 300 people had shown up, which came as a huge shock to me, but said something about how important transit is to people in our communities. And sometimes we overlook that. In the legislature, my seatmate was Jack McCroskey. The two of us sat in the back row. Jack was the only member of the legislature who rode the bus every single day to and from the Capitol. RTD was only 7 years old at that point and had been created in 1972. It provided awful service. The appointed board was plagued by scandal and corruption, and they had failed twice to get voters to approve any kind of transit addition to the bus service. So in 1979, Jack and I ran a bill to create an elected RTD board to bring more community and grassroots input into the planning process. Our bill passed 45-18 in the House and was sent over to the Senate, where it never received a hearing. In 1980, we tried again, and we ran the same bill and had the same result. We had told the opponents that we would go and collect the signatures and put it on the ballot if it didn't pass that year. I don't think they believed that we could do it and successfully, because we were restricted to 60 days and we needed 150,000 signatures. But we did receive the signatures, we turned them in, and when voters voted on it in November, it was an 83% yes vote in favor of the elected board over replacing the appointed board. The first priority that the new board had was to repair and bring up to speed the bus system, which had been allowed to deteriorate badly. Jack McCroskey was particularly insistent on ensuring that all the buses were equipped with wheelchair lifts, making Denver the first city in the country to make their entire transit system ADA accessible. It was actually something that was opposed by the FTA and many people in the industry who thought it would be too difficult and too expensive. Actually, it worked out very well, and so well that when the Americans for Disability Act was considered in Congress, they included ADA access to all transit in the country. Like all elected boards, RTD has had its ups and downs. When the time came to eventually select the initial RTD route, everybody knew that the I-25 corridor would provide the most ridership, but the neighborhoods and communities along that route could not reach agreement on where to put stations and where to put the tracks and the right-of-way. Bob Tonsing, who had been the mayor of Littleton and was now on the RTD board, lined up all the communities along Santa Fe, Sheridan, Englewood, Littleton, and Denver. And so our first deployment was down that corridor. With the success of that line, we tried to go to voters the first time with Guide the Ride, which failed. Eventually, Fast Tracks passed. During the past 44 years, while we've had an elected board, the Denver transit system has been selected as America's finest transit system 3 times. So you have to ask yourself, why are they trying to kill the elected board and replace it with an appointed board? As I said to the RTD board when briefing them recently, this is a sophisticated, multi-layered, hostile takeover. It's a political coup against RTD in which, much like the Supreme Court's decision to repeal a half century of Roe v. Wade, now we have the legislature here in Colorado wanting to repeal the elected board and replace it with an appointed one. This is the second time our legislature has tried to replace RTD. They created in the 1980s something called the Colorado Transit Authority. It was a total failure and left a big pile of bills that had to be paid when they went bankrupt. So where we stand today is that we have a democratic system that has worked well. I happen to believe that we would not have the light rail system we have today if it hadn't been for the fact that we had an elected board. Democracy can be the solution to our problems, but it's only as strong as those who are willing to defend it. I hope you can leave this meeting ready to fight for continued democracy. I've done it once before. I'm ready to do it again. Thank you.